Hey, hi guys. I want to talk to you about a client of ours that came to us with his mortgage renewal and was in a really tough spot because he was coming from a mortgage rate that was much lower, in the mid twos, 2% range, knowing that when he was going to be renewing, he'd be coming up at least doubling that interest rate and doubling his payments, and was really concerned and worried about what he could do because, quite frankly, he definitely couldn't afford that jump and that change in mortgage payment. And so what we did was we said, okay, hang on a second here. He was worried he was going to have to sell his home and was out of all options. He said, hang on here. Okay, no problem. Let's look at this. Let's take a step back here and look at everything. So what we did was we said, let's go. In the end, we were able to save him over $3,800 a month, $3,800 a month. And this is how. So we said, let's take a step back here and let's look at everything that's going on in the whole budget of life right now. Not just this mortgage. We've got options with the mortgage, but let's use all the tools in our tool belt as financial planners and structures to see what we can do here. So this is what I want you guys to do. I put in this email here. There's a budget sheet there. It's the actual budget sheet that I use. And I use it to keep myself accountable for all the different expenses that are going on in my life. Because quite often we have all these things, all these subscriptions that we subscribe to, all these things that are like, streaming services, and there's Uber services, and there's all these things. There's also ones on there that we kind of forget about, right? So these are the ones I want to talk about. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go and I want you to print out your bank statements, print out your credit card statements, print out your line of credit statements, whatever it is, or pull them all up and look at them all. And on there are going to be some expenses that are going to be recurring expenses, right? Like some things that are kind of fixed where it's like every month they come out. And I can pretty well guarantee you that there are going to be things on there that we can do one, if not both of these two things with. One of them is going to be, you can look at them and say, okay, I can negotiate this. Sometimes we set and forget some things that are there, whether it's like a bill, a monthly payment that we have each month. It might be other subscriptions that we have that we just kind of leave them there and we leave them alone. And what happens is like, for example, our insurance, our home insurance or our car insurance or, TV services, all this kind of stuff, cell phone. And we don't know that those are negotiable. Like we can go back to whomever it is that belongs to and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? Like I'm shopping this around. I'm thinking about canceling it. I need a better rate. We can chip away at some of these things. In some cases, it can be in the hundreds of dollars. Usually it's in the tens, but each one of them, one option, again, like I said, is to go back and negotiate those. So the fixed ones that you do need, go back, talk to them, talk to your insurance. And if they're not willing to budge, then shop it around. See if you can get a better price elsewhere, because most often you actually can, most definitely. The other thing is that looking at the things that we don't necessarily need, right? The Spotifys and the Netflix and the Google stores and the apps and the Apple store and different apps that we paid for over years that are recurring. And there's all these things that we might be paying for that we don't necessarily need. I myself went back and looked at it and was like, paying for Spotify, and I don't actually use it enough to justify having it. And it might have been a $10 or $20 a month savings, but that adds up. And when we add these up and compound them over time, it's money that can be put elsewhere. So that's step one. Step one is going to definitely be looking at that budget sheet, going through it all and understanding where are the areas that are on there that I can save? What are the changes that I can make? And that's a big way for you to go ahead and save and chip away. It's a big deal. Quite often we think that, oh, forget it, it's not worth my time. But you know what? Every dollar adds up and it compounds. So that's one thing that I would really love you to go ahead and do if that's a position that you're in. Another thing that you can do is, in this particular case, is we talked about the mortgage, restructuring it. This doesn't apply to everybody, but yes, there are ways. For example, in this particular case for this borrower, we said, okay, look, you know what? We're going to refinance this mortgage. We're going to back up the amortization. So rather than renewing at 25 years, we back it up to 30-year amortization. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely fine. If there's a difference between you losing your home or selling and keeping it is just backing up the amortization, that's real cool. It reduces your payments monthly substantially. That's definitely an option, because the thing is this, you can always pay your mortgage faster. Always. You can do that anytime. You can do that now. You can do that down the road when you're in a little bit of a better position. You can make prepayments. You can dump capital into that mortgage. There's lots of ways we teach you and products we get you to teach you to do that. So that you can do anytime. But if you need your payment, if you need to bridge that gap where you're coming off of a payment of a rate that's lower than what it is right now when you're renewing, we have solutions to make sure we can bridge that gap for you. So we've been able to save folks tens of thousands of dollars, in some cases over $100,000, by being able to consolidate debts and restructure mortgages to help them to get there. So, like I said, the idea here is just to make sure that you understand exactly that you have lots of options. I am looking to get a financial planner on, have a webinar so we can talk about all kinds of great strategies on financial planning and different tips and tricks for folks to get ahead and chip away each month the way that you can compound and build your wealth. Okay, so again, print this budget sheet that's on there. If you want to use it, go ahead. Any questions you have, you know I'm here for you. Anytime, reach out. Be glad to connect. Have an awesome one.